Hey, what's up? How you doing, everybody? It's me, Robert Anthony.
Me, Joelle Anthony.
We are coming to you with this update from the Snowbird Mesa, just outside the Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada. We're just south of Overton, a city called Overton, small town called Overton.
Very small town, like this small.
How about that sunrise this morning, huh?
Spectacular.
Was that something?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, we're packing up and we're getting ready to head to Southern California for our next day, which is going to be our work camp that we'll obviously document for you. But it's been a few weeks since we gave you an update, and the Christmas season has passed. And you may recall the last update that we gave to you was from the state of Arizona when we were in the Dispersed campsite area called the Golden Canyon, just outside of Apache Junction. So I've meandered my way through the United States from Michigan, as you may recall, going back, hitting a number of states and staying Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, New Mexico, ultimately Arizona to pick Joelle up at the airport. We stayed for a few weeks, and here we are in Nevada. So after 2 weeks in our Golden Canyon Dispersed campsite, lots of adventures, chasing sunsets, chasing sunrises, chasing down the Nevada from the top of a huge mesa when I crashed it. We moved into the city of Kanab, coming up through Flagstaff. We stayed overnight in the Coconino National Forest and were treated to an unbelievable sunrise in our overnight stay in the National Forest. It was a really great dispersed camping area that we took the Micro Mini to, and it was outstanding. From there, we hit Planet Fitness, got a workout in, got some showers in, headed up to Page, Arizona, which is the home of course, Horseshoe Bend, where the 289s converge. 89A, which runs across the Vermilion Cliffs south, and 89, which runs between Kanab and Page across the Coyote Buttes area, also the Vermilion Cliffs area, the Grand Staircase, the Glen Canyon recreational area. That whole area between Page, which is where Horseshoe Bend is at, just west of Monument Valley and over toward Kanab, is replete and full of things that you just, I mean, you could be there for a year probably and not do enough stuff. So we met with our children, well, at least with Jacob and Levi, and Levi's wife Colleen, and Jacob's lady friend, who we hope becomes a daughter-in-law, Stephanie. And we spent the Christmas holiday we showed up, what, the 19th of December?
The 18th. Wait, I think the 17th.
Okay.
One of those days.
So we were in there somewhere in the Kanab area. So first night we stayed in a dispersed campsite that we found. Second night, we moved in closer to town, about 15 miles. We thought we wanted to be closer to the boys in Kanab, so we moved in 15 miles closer, which put us 15 miles from where they were staying, in a wonderful dispersed campsite on BLM property just off of 89 in about, I'd say, a half a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile. We stayed at the base of an epic mesa, red rock area, showing you some footage of that here. It was a good campsite, but it was all red clay, and it was snowing at times, which meant that red clay was going to get wet. And in the entire region, if you're off-road or you're off-pavement or graded gravel and you're in that red stuff, if it gets damp and wet, that stuff fills up your tires, even if you have off-road tires like what we have on the Toyota Tundra. It makes quite a mess. So we ultimately stayed there for, I think, 4 nights or 5 nights, and on Christmas Eve we found a little piece of BLM property. It's really odd. It's just carved out kind of near the city, next to Utah State Trust land and the county jail, of all things. Yeah. And we set up camp there, which put us 3 miles down the road from where the boys were at, which meant the next 4 days that we were able to spend with them, we were right there with them, and it was just magnificent with regard to being there. The BLM property that we stayed on had a beautiful trail, paved trail that was part of the county park that backed right up to it, so we were able to take Watson for plenty of walks, met lots of people walking that trail every day, and honestly just felt a little bit safer.
Yeah.
When you're out in the middle of the forest and you're all by yourself, it is a little creepy out there. One of the reasons that we moved in was the area that we were staying within was home to huge deer herds. And so it wouldn't go by, a night wouldn't go by that if we didn't get back before dark, we would see the road peppered with deers that had been struck. And so I have yet to be able to afford, or maybe not so much afford, but put what's called a push bar on the front of the Tundra, which I eventually plan to do, like a Ranch King push bar. We take a deer strike, it's going to cripple us for a few weeks while that gets fixed, and we don't want to do that. So we were coming back a lot at night, and before the sun went down, and the sun was going down at about 4:45 or 5 o'clock. So while we were there, we hit a number of great hikes. And before we go any further, I'd like to say that we're glad that you're here, and that we would like it, if you haven't already, if you could hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and then hit that bell notification. When you hit that bell notification, it lets you know that we've released another video, and it's part of our series of traveling or photography experience or whatever. But you really help out our channel to grow if you hit the like button. So if you could hit the like button right now, that would be great.
Remember, hit the like button.
Yeah.
Right now.
So let's get back to where we went. So while we were there, let me tell you about a few of the hikes that we did while we were on our visit for Christmas in Kanab. So our hike started out, the first hike that we did was our one of my favorites, Deer Trap Mountain. Deer Trap Mountain is inside the Zion National Park through the Zion Wilderness. I don't like visiting Zion National Park anymore and almost refuse to go there. It's so busy. There is so much traffic. It is almost impossible to enjoy yourself. Now, Zion National Park is not a park to be missed. If you haven't been there and you can weather the crowds, or you're one of those folks that enjoys all of the trauma that comes with traveling in parking lots that are so full you can't find a parking spot, like in Zion National Park, waiting in line literally for an hour or better to get in if you're in there in peak season like April through June or throughout the summer. It's a nightmare to enjoy the park, but it is host to a number of wonderful hikes: Angel's Landing, Observation Point, Cable Mountain, the Narrows, of course, the subway. They have started permitting Angel's Landing. That's new this year, which is good because that's it's an epic adventure, but it is also very dangerous. And I was always surprised that they didn't allow, or that they would allow just whoever wanted to climb up there without a permit. The crowds made it very dangerous traversing up Angel's Landing. So you can look up Angel's Landing and see what I'm talking about. I don't have any footage from there. But Deer Trap Mountain is all things Zion. I have a secret spot that we access the trail from, and we access it from outside the national park on the east side. So we don't even enter in through the gates to go into the national park. We actually found a trailhead that backs up to a residential area. Should you ever find that, I'm going to caution you, they have done a lot. It's all pretty much closed off. If you try to park on the sides of the dirt roads in this residential area, you will get towed away. And the trek down to the trailhead, you need a high clearance truck at this point. It's steep down to the trailhead, and it's also, if it's wet like it was when we were there, it's very icy. The Park Service has carved out a small space that will house about 4 cars on the top of that descent down that 100 yards to the trailhead. But if you try to do that and you don't have 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive and it is icy, you are not getting back out of there. So exercise great caution. It's unlikely that people are there parked because it is so obscure it's hard to find, but that hike is one of my favorites. It's all things Zion. Ponderosa Forest, juniper fields, old deadwood, up and down, not a ton of ascent and descent. You're on the top of the mesa, but when you get out there and Deer Trap Mountain opens into the Zion Canyon, you can see everything. You can see Observation Point across the way. You can see Angel's Landing down there. You can see the Virgin River. You can't see the entrance to the Narrows, just barely, but you can see everything from up there. So if there's one hike, it's the Deer Trap Mountain hike in Zion National Park. You could see everything other than like the subway. You could see everything that would be Zion National Park and get the full experience. After we did that, the next hike that we did, Joelle, was, do you remember?
I believe it was Yellow Rock.
It was Yellow Rock. So I found a hike out to a giant rock formation called Yellow Rock, and this is accessed from 89. you go north on Cottonwood Canyon Road. Cottonwood Canyon Road will actually take you all the way through to Bryce Canyon if you want to drive it. Again, the first 10 miles of Cottonwood Canyon Road are graded gravel, very easy to drive on. The latter 10 miles or so to Yellow Rock Trailhead, it does start to get into that mud. So you'll want to make sure that you've got the right vehicle. We went in the Tundra, the kids went in a Jeep Cherokee 2-wheel drive, no problem. It was no problem at all for anybody to get there. The Yellow Rock hike was amazing. That is a hike that's obscure. It is beautiful. The hike is treacherous at the beginning. You have to bushwhack through about 100 yards or maybe 50 yards of real thick brush and dense brush. If you do this hike, you want to make sure that you have it downloaded to either an All Trails type app or a Gaia GPS like what we use. We use Gaia GPS Pro. And it will guide you to the trailhead. When you get to the spot where you have to make the ascent up and over the rock formation, you're in the right spot. It's hard to believe that you're in the right spot, but you're in the right spot.
That's crazy.
The Yellow Rock Trail was gorgeous. I got great photography while I was there in the panorama mode with the drone. Don't take that hike without trekking poles. You will want them both on the way up and over the rock formation and then on the way down. And when I say the rock formation, I don't mean Yellow Rock. I mean more the actual ascent over the, it's a rock crawl. Up.
Right, you'll be crawling.
At some points, it's okay to bear crawl. You may have to bear crawl to get up. I did a couple of different times, even having trekking poles. But once you get up and over, it's all flat. And the hike up Yellow Rock, it is enormous when you see it. You're awestruck by its sheer size. It is like a yellow mountain is what it is. But it's all slick rock, so if you get over and you get down and you start traversing the sand to get up to the Yellow Rock area, once you're up there, that's all slick rock. So it is really, it's like walking on anti-skid stickers. You're not falling. Right. If you can make it to the top, go to the top. The view from the top over into the mountain range, heading north toward Bryce Canyon, is almost as good as what I saw at the top of Mitchell Peak in the Sierra Nevada mountain range.
And it was about 6 miles?
Yeah, it was about 6.5 miles round trip. The first part up was pretty exhausting, but that was only maybe a quarter of a mile up, if that. The rest of the hike is across flat land, for the most part. Other than the hike up the rock, we're in great shape. So to me, I would say the hike up the rock was a piece of cake. Everybody that was with us, Jacob, Stephanie, and Levi, they're in great shape too. So it was nothing for us. But if you're afraid of heights and sheer cliff edges bother you, there are a couple of spots on the ascent up. Might freak you out. So.
I mean, I was winded a few times going up the rock. I was like, whew. But it was a good challenge for me.
I think I'd do it again. I think if somebody wanted to visit out here with me, I think that's a hike I would take somebody to. I would do it again now that I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Again, have a mapping app. It's hard to find. Where do we go next? Do you remember?
We went to Buckskin Gulch Slot Canyons.
Yep, we went to the Buckskin Gulch, which is one of my absolute favorite places on the planet to visit.
Fantastic.
Buckskin Gulch is part of the Pahreah Canyon, and we go through the Wire Pass Trailhead. This is a permitted or a permittable hike. You cannot just drive to this trailhead and hike. You have to have a permit from the Bureau of Land Management. You can get it at the trailhead. There is signal in your cell phone. Most of us had signal. You can get the online version. They've done it really great where through recreation.gov you can get your permit now for that. You don't even have to go to the BLM offices, which was a new thing since the last time I was there. It was wonderful. This is the same trailhead that you hike the wave to. If you should get a wave permit and you're going out there, my advice to you is do not miss the Buckskin Gulch. What I did the first time that I was there, I actually stayed overnight in the Dodge Grand Caravan at the trailhead, which is allowed. They have wonderful bathrooms there. Everything is clean. It's outstanding. They're pit toilets. They're not running water bathrooms, but they allow you to stay at the trailhead if you have a permit to hike to Buckskin Gulch. Buckskin Gulch is one where if you're hiking it or you're going on my advice, just remember you're going to go in, you're going to finally get to the entrance to the slot canyon, you're going to walk through and it's going to open up almost right away. That's not the end. Right. About 100 yards in, it opens up again and it's like, well, that's it. Keep going. You're going to go down in further because you'll have another opening that you won't see it. You'll think you're done, and you're not. And then you're going to go in, and there's going to be a huge expanse, and the trail is going to fork to the left and to the right. I don't ever go to the left. I always go to the right. I'm not disappointed. The farther you go, the prettier it gets. If you get past where the rocks are on the ground and it's mostly just sand trails, you're going to find even better footage. After about 2 miles in, the scenery pretty much doesn't change, so it's up to you at that point. It's kind of diminishing returns as you walk. Did you like the Buckskin Gulch slot canyon?
Yeah, it was really great. It's family friendly. I mean, there's
it is
a lot of dogs on that trail, actually, if you call it a trail.
Yeah,
but it was great, and I think anyone can do it.
Yeah,
regardless of your level.
Yep.
But we enjoyed it as a family. It was spectacular.
Yeah.
I would actually do that again.
Yeah, me too. Every time I bring somebody out here, whoever it is, we're going on the Buckskin Gulch Trail.
Aren't these the hugest?
The hugest? The largest?
The largest.
Yeah, this is actually Buckskin Gulch via Wire Pass. It is the largest and tallest slot canyon in the entire world. It's also long. I think it's about 20 miles long. So it beats the antelope slots any day, I have to say. I've done them both.
Got to do them. It's worth it.
Do you remember what we did after that?
You know, not really.
That following morning, we went up and spent the day in the morning traversing around the Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park, which is just north of Kanab. The Coral Pink Sand Dunes is it's a weird place where the coral pink sand has settled in. The way that the mountains come together, they act as a funnel. It does get windy. These mesas around Kanab do wear down, and that red rock and all that sand blows in and settles as a coral pink dune. They are wonderfully beautiful. This is a very friendly to off-road vehicle state parks. ATVs, off-road vehicle, off-highway vehicles, OHVs. They are all over the place, tearing up the dunes. So if you ever plan to visit there and camp, you will be listening to that all day, all afternoon, and well into the evening. But we found a spot that I know about that's far away from all of that. And we went in and took Watson around, did some photography, and did some drone footage of coral pink sand dunes. It's not to be missed if you're in the area.
He had a blast.
Yeah, Watson had a blast.
Loved it.
If you're into this kind of thing, they offer sled rentals and snowboard rentals that you can climb up the biggest dune and go down. I'm not into that because I don't like getting sand in every crevice and spot in my body. Snow I'll do, but sand.
It's like the beach.
Yeah, not so much.
Sand out.
Great place to visit if you're there.
It is.
Our final stop while we were there was one that ran across on the suggestion of a fellow content creator that I had run into at the gas station, called the Pahreah town site. So we drove out the Pahreah town site, which is very close to where Yellow Rock is. We drove into the Pahreah town site. Pahreah. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. I don't know if it's Pahreah or if it's Pahreah.
I think it's Pahreah, but I could be
Might be Pahreah. But we drove in about 12 miles all the way to the very end. The Pahreah town site, we did not know this, but Kanab actually was considered the little Hollywood at one time. They did a significant number of films throughout early 1900s, and I think even into the mid to late 1900s out there with movie sets. So there's an old town site out there that was once settled, but they actually turned it into a movie site out there, and they would do a ton of movies out there. Can you name some of the movies that you read about?
I think Gunsmoke, Planet of the Apes.
Didn't you say Lassie?
You know what? Yeah, Lassie, the original Lassie. And there's a few more. There was Vacation, but it wasn't with Chevy Chase. It was his son, like in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So there's
the Pahreah town site, Pahreah town site, was epic at sunset. The colors in those rock formations out there just came to life. They actually have blues and magentas and purples in them. And boy, it was magical the way that it was. We learned a lot in the final days about the area. There was a fort there that was erected when evil white man came and started to move in. Indians didn't like us so much when they were there, so they were getting killed and murdered quite a bit, the white man was. Set up a fort, didn't work out too well. Fort got burned down, overrun. A little bit later, we came out again. I don't have my dates with me, so I'm not for sure. But eventually they ended up settling and making friends with folks. And again, it's mostly been Mormon, I think, the entire time.
Majority.
Yeah, hasn't it? Yeah. So, of course, that's Utah, so it's to be expected. But, you know, if you're in the mode to go and do something, you could easily spend 2 to 3 weeks in the Kanab area, staying there on Bureau of Land Management property. The entire area is surrounded by free dispersed camping. It's nuts. There's so much. It's just crazy. And for our truck and trailer, very comfortable. So I would not hesitate to recommend that as a stop this spring or summer or whenever you might be planning on a trip out there. There's stuff within 40 or 50 miles. And again, don't let that scare you if you're from east of the Mississippi. Once you start getting out west out here, everything's a long way away, no matter what you're going to do. You just get used to the fact that everything's a long way away. And I haven't mentioned other things like the Peekaboo Slot Canyon, Hog Canyon, the Toadstools, the White Rock, which you have to, if you're going to go to the White Wave, you have to take a tour because it's pretty treacherous back in there. It's amazing. And the Grand Canyon North Rim is just 80 miles to the actual edge of the rim is 80 miles south from Kanab. The Jacob Lake area, which is an epic place to camp, is a beautiful area on the north side of the Grand Canyon. That's only, I think, 35 miles from Kanab. So there's a ton of stuff to see, ton of stuff to do. Bryce Canyon is only 70 miles. So you can see everything from Kanab as your home base. So we really enjoyed it. It's the first time I've been here in the winter. It's not bad. Did get down to about 14 degrees one night, froze up our water a little bit. But beyond that, you know, it was comfortable during the day, plenty of solar. We never had to turn the generator on and never had to plug in the power. So we're here at the
Snowbird Mesa.
Snowbird Mesa. We've been here for a few days. This is going to kind of conclude our time here.
In Nevada.
Yeah, in Nevada. We haven't made time to go to Valley of Fire State Park, and we're not going to. We're actually going to start heading south because the folks at Glamis North are expecting us in a couple of days, so we've got to get down there. I hope that you found this update helpful. I hope that you found it useful. If you have any questions about places around Kanab, I've been there enough. I feel that we're starting to become kind of an expert in that area. We'd be happy to share them with you. Just leave a comment in the comment section below. Hope you learned a few things.
Yeah.
Again, we may do individual videos for each of the hikes and talk more in depth about the hike itself, where we went, how to get there, what to do. Hesitate to share too much because, well, we're kind of selfish and want these places to remain untouched.
Yeah.
You have any final words?
No, I think Kanab's been great. I feel like I would want to live there. It's too small of a town for me.
Too small for you?
Yeah, I think.
Need a little bit more?
Just
if
a
there's a
little bit
Walmart
more.
and a Home Depot, it's good?
Maybe.
They had dollar stores.
Family Dollar. But the thing is...
Is Family Dollar Store not a dollar store?
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just wonder about that.
I noticed, I haven't been grocery shopping in a long time. The prices were really high.
Well, they got to freight that stuff in, so it's going to be more expensive.
That's what I'm talking about. You just pay more.
Yeah, when you get into these smaller areas, like gas over here in Overton is about $1 a gallon more than it was in larger cities.
But it is like this big.
Overton's small.
It's small.
That's even smaller. Hey, we love having you here. We're grateful that you're here. Again, leave us your comments in the comment section below. We appreciate you, and thanks for the well wishes at Christmas.
Yes.
Thanks for the, I guess, the encouragement that you guys are offering when you do. And I guess that's about it. I'd like to wish you a Happy New Year.
Yeah, that's right. It is January 3rd as we make this video.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting up with all of our shenanigans. And we will see you in the next one.
Rob out.
Bye.